I
can
also
vouch for
think that like the whole Seaver thing, and this happened way before I got in the industry, and Bill Shannon, who left us far too soon, was a writer, covered things. He goes back to the Brooklyn Dodgers of the 50s, and he sat down and told me the whole Seaver story one night, that Dick Young not only tried to get Seaver out of town, but Dick Young had a brother-in-law working in M. Donald Grant's office. It was a reality show before reality shows ever hit. And really, this is the thing, people that don't know about this or don't talk about it much. Tom Seaver had worked out a contract agreement 5 days before he was traded.
I read that in your book, and I was like, I never knew that, because I always thought that, Seaver was out the door from the first get-go, but he actually wanted to stay and had agreed. I didn't know that.
Well, what happened is he went over M. Donald Grant's head to Lorinda Deroulet, who owned the team. Mm-hmm. And she loved Tom and understood what Tom gave the organization, and she said, we'll work something out. Then the following day or two, Dick Young writes a column that the reason Seaver's so mad is that Nancy Seaver talks to Ruth Ryan that Nolan Ryan makes more, and he took on he took on someone's family the first time I ever saw that. And I think that then Seaver said, just get me out of here. And I think that, for Seaver's career, it probably, turned out better, because the Mets would have been floundering for years even with him. And he went to a team and he got on the national stage, threw his no-hitter, and then came back to the Mets and actually had to leave again because of what Frank Cashin says was a mistake, but to this day I don't think was a mistake. But that's another story.
I agree with you
day.
on that too. Mm-hmm.
But I think that the whole Seaver thing was a great portent, a great view at what sports talk radio would become. And the following year, we had the whole Billy Reggie George thing, which everyone says, when did you in your mind think, Rich, that sports talk radio would work? As a 17 or 18-year-old, I kept thinking during both of those things that, God, if we had radio that talked about this all the time, it would be great. And I wish I would have tailored the idea back in 77 or 78, because I probably would have been the richest man in America right now. But it definitely was the first glimpse we ever had at sports talk radio, those two events that happened within, 14 months of each other in a baseball seasons in New York.
Good point. Let's talk about the Mets for a few minutes. We're talking with Rich Coutinho. He is the author of Pressbox Revolution, How Sports Reporting Has Changed Over the Past 30 Years, published by Skyhorse Publishing. Today, he will be at Foley's Pub signing the book at 5 o'clock. You cover the Mets, and what's going on? What's going on with David Wright? What we've heard that he really shouldn't be throwing anymore. Have you heard anything?
Yeah, it's bad news for David Wright, and I know that there's nowhere he would rather be than at third base playing for the Mets, but the chances of that ever happening again keep diminishing each time he has a setback. And you also have to start to think about these injuries, what it's going to do to his quality. Let's say he plays and gets hurt even worse. What does that do to the quality of the rest of his life? And I know baseball fans don't really care about that, but David Wright has to care about that. And I do know he's a prideful man. I do know he loves wearing the Met orange and blue. But as these setbacks continue to occur, you have to look at it in a realistic way. The chances of him returning and ever playing baseball again have diminished greatly in the last 2 months. And I wouldn't have said that 2 months ago, but we may have seen the last of David Wright.
Which is really sad because, we're talking about players coming through the system, the way Mattingly did and many other Yankees. He came through the system. He was the best Met for the last 10 years.
He's been the face of the franchise for pretty much a decade
and
now.
Was on his way to the Hall of Fame if he'd kept everything the way he was going. Timmy says maybe.
But
I thought so.
Hall of Fame is a really big step.
I know, but I still think
really big step.
I still think Thurman Munson should be in the Hall of Fame. I still think Donnie Baseball should be in the Hall of Fame. So that's David Wright was on his way. He's not going to make it now, which is unfortunate. Also, on the I think it's the nysportsday.com page, you have an interview with Michael Conforto. Mm-hmm. What's different now with Michael? He seems to be much more confident than he was last year, or at least playing better.
A lot better.
What's going on with Michael Conforto?
Well, I think, baseball's about adjustments. And when Michael Conforto hit the scene in 2015, he was hitting the ball like he is now, but pitchers made an adjustment to him last year, and I think part of it got to be mental. And in his second year, he had a poor season. He'd be the first to admit it, but he spent the off season getting in better shape. He felt he needed to get more lean, and the second thing he needed to do was understand that he's a hitter that has to use the whole field. He's not someone that needs to, be a dead pull hitter. And I think you can make the case right now that there are better hitters in baseball than Michael Conforto, but I don't know how many better wall-to-wall hitters there are than Michael Conforto. And he realized that he has the power to hit an opposite field homer. It's about the bat speed and hitting the ball squarely. And the other thing that I think was great about what Conforto's done is in the offseason he had a lot of questionableness about what his future would be this season. The Mets had a glut of outfielders. It didn't look like he was going to make it out of spring training. And I'll tell you, I covered him in spring training, and it never seemed to affect him, okay? And one day I just pulled him aside. I said, you're in your early 20s, and I'm a 56-year-old man. I think I'm learning a little from you. How do you not let this affect you? And his answer to me is, it's simple, Rich. Only worry about the things in life you can't control. And I don't want to make this sound overly corny, but that's a great life lesson for everybody. Because when we worry about the things we can't control, we're doing two things. We're never going to change those things anyway. And secondly, we're not spending enough time on the things we can control. And for a 22, 23-year-old kid to understand that and embrace that and embrace the challenge and understand that all he can do is play well in spring training, I think it's a tremendous testimony to how mature he is and how important he's become to this Met team and the Met team that's been struggling. But quite frankly, without Michael Conforto, I mean, they're 6 games under 500 now. They would have been 11 or 12 games under 500 without Michael Conforto.
Absolutely.
And that's how important he's been. And that's the change I see in him. And mentally, he's probably one of the most mature young players.
Hello? Did we lose him?
I think we lost him. What happened?
I don't know. It sounded like there was a bong there.
I don't know. It sounded like an explosion. Hope Rich is all right.
Let's see if we can get him back on the line. Hey, we got a couple of minutes anyway. So,
Wow,
that was
bizarre. I don't know. Did you hear that, Big Ed? Big Ed is in the studio. Big Ed is nodding. He's like he heard that.
Oh, he did. Okay.
I don't know. I don't know what just happened.
Maybe the phone just got blown up.
I have no clue.
That's fine.
All right. Anyway,
hey, Rich, we lost you for a second. Hold on.
Is he back?
Okay, hold on.
He's all right.
Hey, it's okay.
Rich.
Yes, I'm here.
On our end, it sounded like an explosion.
Oh my goodness!
I was concerned for you. I was like, what just happened? Where is he?
And now we get on the feedback.
Because I was hearing you say, "Is he all right?" So I heard you up to the time you guys hung up and recalled me. Pretty funny stuff.
Wow.
But Conforto's just a mature kid, and I think the maturity has helped him go through it. And I think young players who are having success, like Judge right now, they're going to have that time where people adapt to what their hitting style is, and then they got to readapt. And I think Judge has the same maturity level that Conforto has. So I don't think he would have a problem, even if he has a little bit of a downtick. But it's an important lesson to young players that worry about the things you can control, and Conforto has illustrated that as well as any young player I've ever been around.
Okay, Rich, we're running out of time. I have one statement and whoa. Let me lower my headphones a little bit. I have one statement and I have one question, so to speak. My statement is about you write a very nice couple of pages about Jose Reyes and how much he's sort of gotten better as a person, not just as a player. And Rich, you still there?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, there you go. And my other thing is, you talk about mentoring a lot and mentors in your life. What are you doing just as a reporter to for the next generation of reporters? What do you see when you see some younger reporters out there? And do they come up to you, or you do go up to them, or what? Or if you didn't, even if you weren't asked, what would you tell them?
Well, I am asked, and being part of the Fordham community, WFUV alumnus, a lot of them are at the games, and they come to me and they say, Rich, can you listen to my stuff? And one of the things I say to them is, understand that being yourself's enough. You don't need to be verbose. Don't worry about your brand. Look at Gary Cohen. Gary Cohen's never worried about his brand, and he's developed a brand as well as anyone in the business. Learn your sport. Do your research. Prepare what you're going to ask players. Don't ever be afraid if you have an opinion that very few other media people do, because keep saying it. At some point, they'll be following you. And just understand that the business has its ups and downs, and diversify yourself as much as you can. Make it an investment portfolio so when the tough times come, you're able to respond to it. Learn ad sales. Learn, program scheduling. Get into a network doing that, even if you're not on air, because you'll use that to get on air. And when you have the periods in your life where you're unemployed, and in this business everyone will have those periods of time, that portfolio will help you keep food on the table, and it'll help you move to the next place you need to be. And that's what I tell them, because that's what was told to me when I was a youngster at Fordham by great people like Vin Scully and Charles Osgood.
That's great, Rich. We have to thank you.
Names.
Yeah, some good names over at Fordham. We have some good names here at Nassau Community College, too. So we thank you for joining us, Rich. The book is called Pressbox Revolution, How Sports Reporting Has Changed Over the Past 30 Years. Our guest has been Rich Coutinho, published by Skyhorse Publishing, and he will be at Foley's Pub today, May 22nd.
I recommend Foley's Pub.
5 p.m., signing the book. And
the greatest sports pub in America.
It's outstanding. You know who else goes there, brother?
No.
Christy Ackert.
Oh, okay. We know Christy. Christy's been on the show, too. And I didn't even get my off-the-record thing. Just a quick thing, Rich. Nice. My brother has a thing. You were talking about being off the record before. Tim Leonard, years ago, I'm in a bar with him with some arena football players, because Timmy used to cover the arena football guys, and he knew all the Albany Firebird guys. This was after a game at the Garden, and they're talking and they're bad-mouthing their coach. And all of a sudden, one of the guys goes, "Uh-oh, press is in the room." And Tim Leonard looks at them and he goes, "Guys, when I'm holding a beer, everything is off the record." I thought it was one of the great lines that I've ever heard my brother say.
Thank you, brother.
I've said that a number of times to John Franco and Al Leiter as well.
I've also drank with you, Rich. I know some of the stories, so I know some of the off-the-record stories. Thanks for joining us, Rich. We appreciate it, and good luck with the book.
A great show, guys. I enjoyed being on it.
Take care.
Thanks, Rich.
Take care.
You're listening to From the Press Box right here on 90.3 WHPC. I am Rob Leonard. He is
Tim Leonard.
And that's it. We're done. Big Ed's coming up next. He is ready. He's on the Morning Madhouse. Now he has a good gold show. Yeah, we're done.
I don't get to talk about Harry Kane at all.
20 seconds.
Harry Kane clinched the Golden Boot. He scored a hat trick yesterday. 7 goals in his last 2 games. 29 goals in 30 games on the season. Legend.
That Harry Kane guy.
Yes, as my brother calls him, that Harry Kane guy.
Yeah, so that's it.
Second Golden Boot. He's got 1 for each foot now.
Okay, we're going to get out of here. Thank you for listening, and take care and listen to Big Ed.
The Yankees win 27 world titles.
Johan Santana throws the first Mets no-hitter.
David Tyree makes a catch for the ages.
Willis Reed walks out onto the garden floor.
For more great sports moments like these, be sure to tune in to all of our fantastic sports shows.
From the Press Box with Rob and Tim Leonard, Monday mornings at 10.
The Home Stretch with Anthony Tardamella and the WHPC sports staff, Tuesday evenings at 9.
Sports Talk with Chris Muldoon and the WHPC sports staff, Thursday evenings at 9.
And Beyond the Game with Jacob Valk, Brandon Johnson, and the WHPC sports staff, Friday afternoons at 3.
All of these excellent shows and more are on the voice of Nassau Community College.
90.3 WHPC.
WHPC HD.
Garden City.